Landon is a sophomore, and then I've got after Landon 13, almost 11, 6, and 2.
What a great family.
So it is fun.
That's amazing.
So that's us.
Wow.
And we love this stuff too. These guys have both been politically involved and interested, and Landon does a lot of studying about governments.
Politically involved. How can I ask these questions?
Yes, I think we may need to talk a little bit louder for the camera
sorry.
to catch us.
Okay. Go ahead, guys. Politically involved how?
How are you, rabble rousers?
Well, I think we just started. I just started getting interested in things that were going on. We had the radio on a lot, so I just hear about different things and like to think about them and discuss them. And so then after some opportunities came up, probably when I was about 14, 15, and I got to join a couple homeschool groups of youth that do things with being civically involved. And so I was in one group that we've both been in called Youth in Government, where we got to participate in mock legislation.
Great.
So we got to present bills, and we actually got to do a program that was at the Capitol building, and that was really fun. And then also we were in another group called Generation Joshua. It's another homeschool group, and they do, but it was really cool.
It's was founded by HSLDA.
Yeah,
Okay.
Homeschool Legal Defense Association. It's a branch of them, and they just, anyone can start a group, and you just get a group of kids ages 11 to 18, and you talk about
Get involved
issues,
politically.
and you get involved. We went to the state capitol a couple times and did a little lobbying. We just talked to senators and
Sure, that's great.
watched them.
In the last election, they both went to Colorado to campaign with Generation Joshua
Yeah.
for a candidate there.
For
And
a week. I think it was a week.
Lindsay Page in Oklahoma had an opportunity to be a page for a couple days.
Really?
They're in the state
I
senate,
love this.
Cool.
so they both have done different things. And that's right. You both campaigned for Romney here too, in the campaign office a couple of times. Different things.
Cool. Yeah. So it feels strong. Strong citizens, you know
We
what
hope.
it takes to be this. Yeah.
That's the goal, right?
We
For all of
raised
us.
our kids at the state capitol.
Some of
I
them
I
with
haven't been to
Couple.
one here yet.
Eagle Forum.
Really, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I want to.
Yeah, it's an outstanding opportunity to be up there and work as an intern up there.
Yeah, we had two of our two oldest have graduated from George Wythe. And,
Yeah. So we are TJ Edders through and through.
yeah.
Through and
So did you do
through.
that with all 9 of them, all the way
We
through?
wish.
No,
We
we started before all of this was here.
Yeah.
We started before we even had kids. We went to a homeschool association meeting.
Yeah.
But then because we have 5 adopted children,
Oh, wow.
we're black. We have 4 birth children and 5 adopted children. And so that caused a little bit of a stir in our home.
A little bit.
And so that's why we kind of did all kinds of different things. But we had a private school over in Tooele for about 4.5
Did our own,
years,
yeah.
did our own school. Started out, the first year was with Benjamin Franklin Academy. I don't know if you've
Which is
heard of
Gwen
that.
Kimber, which is Queen Anne Skousen's son-in-law,
Yeah.
Kimber Academy. Okay, now I've heard of
that's
Kimber
Kimber,
Academy.
And
I've heard Glenn Beck talk about
something,
Kimber
it used to be
Academy.
Benjamin
yeah,
Franklin
it was
Academy
great.
in the 80s,
Mhm.
90s. Anyway,
Yeah.
we took a branch of it over there to Tooele for a year, and then they folded. And we continued
Our own school.
our own school.
That's
And
great.
so our kids attended that some, and
We wish we could have homeschooled.
yeah,
My-
we could
My
like
heart's
more.
desire is that all of my grandchildren were homeschooled. I'll do
Yeah.
what your mom did.
You do.
Yeah. we
Me
used
too.
to.
But curriculum was really up in the air back then, trying to find what do you really do at homeschool, and so TJ Ed has really brought it
Gaps.
together.
There,
And you
yeah,
don't
I
have
try
to worry
to
about,
follow them, and it just, it's
yeah, well, you don't
it's
have to
difficult.
worry about curriculum as much
Yeah.
when you do their,
You follow the
Right.
principles.
yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. And you know, I was really lucky to have a lady that had a ministry in Oklahoma that was very much the same. Living books. She suggested that we read Thomas Jefferson Education, but she didn't pronounce herself as a TJ'er. She just, it was all about do your own thing. You don't need a curriculum.
So,
Yeah.
so
So
you're
I
saying
did get that.
TJ Ed is a form? Is that what you're saying?
It's principles.
I think we could
It
say,
is-
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's principle, but
There's,
TJ Ed is the
Been
form on the principles.
systematized.
it's somewhat systematized. It's
Well, yeah. I
Kind
mean,
of
you
a
know, if you
form.
go through and read they have rules or principles or whatever you want to call them, you know. I can't
and then you
remember
kind
what
of
she
create
calls
your
it in
own
the phases.
form.
In the
from
phases
them.
book, but
Mm.
yeah, I love how inspiring they are. When I get to the how-to books that they've written with other people, yeah, I'm not as impressed. Except for the chapters that they've written. I was so inspired by, but not so much by this is exactly how we did it in our house. Because
No,
Who else
that's
does that
book
work
2.
for?
Book 3 is the best, the leadership.
phases of learning.
The phases of learning.
Is that the
That's
third
the
one?
third one. That's the best.
See, and that's
That's-
what after I read this, after I read TJ Ed, and then I read another one, and I was like, okay, I have a lot more questions than answers in
I
this
know, I
book.
didn't
And
enjoy the
then
second
I am reading the phases of learning and really enjoying it,
Yeah.
and having trouble.
one.
getting my husband to do it. Kind of, I went, yeah. So that's where we are right
Now
now.
they've got a thinner book, paperback for teens. Have you seen that one?
Yes, he did read it, and I haven't
you
read
like
it, but
it?
he
I mean, you know, off to the top of the mountain after you read that book. Don't you think? Oh, it just gives me chills to think about it. I love that book.
I
So,
need to. I still need to read it. We got it from the
Well, we're
library.
going to talk homeschool all night, too.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Sorry.
And that's how we got into this,
Yeah.
because we were doing Joy School with
Yeah, Karen is the
Yeah, and
number
Bonnie.
Oh, neat.
my
Oh,
fifth one, and Bonnie is amazing. She's.
I know it. I know it.
I'm
I-
excited.
I want to be more like Bonnie when I grow up.
Me too.
And vice versa, I'll back at all of you. When I hear Lindsay talk, I'm like, oh, if I had done that when I was 15, wouldn't that have been cool?
Yeah.
I didn't know
neat
that I wanted
opportunities.
to. That's cool. Okay, so real quick is the introductory, sorry to poke you there. I want to review our course goals as I want to do every time. Thank you, Easel. So I decided, okay, this side of the board, I decided that as we go along, why don't we just find whatever principles, because that's, the point is we're looking for principles. So let's make a list. Anytime someone finds a principle, we can even be really interruptive about it. I found a principle, and we'll write it on the board. And I'm going to keep a doc of the master list of the principles. So I wrote up principle 23 that we're talking about tonight from Cleon Skousen. This liberty leads to abundance was the one that stuck out the most to me last time from the Tytler cycle that we watched and learned about. I also, these are just ones I found, so that's where I'm getting us started, and then I hope we can add to our list. So I also like from the last lecture that she said, she quoted John Locke saying that adding labor to something creates ownership, and talk about that principle. So there's one. Mortimer Adler, and this isn't a direct quote, but she says something about, he's talking about a liberal education disciplines our minds, and that leads us to freedom. So discipline leads to freedom for our minds. And sometimes when I'm looking for principles after what I've learned from Audrey, I think, what's a principle again? What does that even mean? Is this really a principle? Does that fit the definition of a principle? So if I put something there and you say, Bonnie, that's not a principle, we can talk about that, because sometimes I don't think I know. And then that neglecting ultimate truths endangers society.
That's what we talked about Thursday night, huh?
Oh,
With
the capital.
Capital. That's what they were really talking about, and they pushed was
They don't know what
marriage.
we do with
Yeah.
celebration.
We went
of
to the
marriage.
celebration of marriage
Of the
up
state
at Capital.
Awesome.
And
And it was,
the,
we'll have to tell later.
yeah, we can tell them.
Yeah, there is a spot for that in the
I just
meeting
basically wanted to
tonight.
say they were talking about marriage is an ultimate truth, and you can't play with it or you damage society.
You do.
Yeah. Well,
Amen.
the marker, oh, yeah, I'm writing it down. I'm just gonna put marriage as one
Yeah,
of the
just that
ultimate
image.
truths
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
an example of an ultimate truth.
Okay. Okay, so my goals for this course, I think we'll just review them every time so that we have in our mind what we're trying to accomplish here. So number one is find truth and principles. Number 2 is the next step is to become better by learning and applying the truth and the principles. 3 is learn about government and economy focusing on founders. So just boost our education of what we know. Number 4, enhance our learning by discussing and sharing the opportunities to learn. And number 5, the biggie is how it's going to affect what we do from here on out. Enable members to know what to do to influence for the good of liberty. So those are my goals. And I'm going to get them on the camera.
Something like that, hopefully.
Okay, so we talked for this homework assignment, we were supposed to apply a few study skills. Does anyone have any questions or any comments about doing the study skills? Did you get to that point? Should we review what they were?
Yeah, we got some done, but
Yeah.
some of them, but not
This
that
time was 1 through 3, right? And next
Yes.
time is.
So the
4
study
through
skills
6.
for this time were to research the author. So because we started 5,000 New Leap this time, to research about Cleon Skousen, or we can talk about what you are